Welcome to Lesson 5 of Building a Basic Website. You now have the HTML5 skills you need to construct your page. But you may say, my website looks like it's from the mid-90s. I'm not trying to build Mark Zuckerberg's purported Angel Fire website. How can I bring my website into the 21st century? The answer is CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it's the way you can control fonts, colors, aesthetics, and even the layout of your HTML5 pages. Put simply, it's a syntax to make your page look good. That's the style in Cascading Style Sheets, and the other two words will make more sense after our next lessons. Once you understand the functionality and quirks of CSS and how it works with HTML, you're in great shape to create your own website and modify templates. Almost every website you've ever seen looks the way it does because the web designers and developers created a series of CSS rules. In plain English, these rules tell the computer things like, make the text blue, or put a 20-pixel margin above this photograph. And a page might have dozens or hundreds of CSS rules to finely tune the look of the page. Sadly, your computer doesn't understand plain English. What it does understand with CSS is a very specific syntax with 4 parts: a selector, a property value, and curly brackets. Let's start with the selector. The selector of the CSS rule is how you tell a web browser what to apply the rule to. Then you hit the spacebar and open the curly bracket. After that comes the property, and there are many different ones in CSS. The color property, for example, controls the color of the text. After that comes a colon, and then the value of the property. In our case, that will be blue. Add a semicolon after the property value, close the bracket, and now you've made your first CSS rule. Basically, you've told the browser, hey browser, make things in the paragraph tag blue. You have different types of selectors. Let's start with the most basic, which is how to write a rule that will apply to a tag. To write a tag selector, you simply take off the brackets. So body, P, and OL are all CSS selectors that would apply to their specific tag back in the HTML. You can also apply selectors to elements with an ID or class attribute. ID selectors always have a hashtag symbol in front of the name of the ID. So the selector for div with an ID of content would be hashtag content. For a class selector, you put a period in front of the name of the class. So footer with a class that equals picturebox would have a selector of period picturebox. You can combine selectors into what's called a compound selector. This lets you be precise and choose a specific child element to style. Here's an example from the HTML code you see on your screen. The way a compound selector works is you start with the parent tag in the selector. It's a div name content, and so we're going to use the selector hashtag content. Then add a space, and then add the child tag, which in this case would be a P for paragraph. Hashtag content space P would apply to all the paragraph tags within the element with an ID of content. If I wrote a compound selector that went hashtag content space header space H2, it would mean that all H2 tags in the header tag in the element with an ID of content would be subject to that rule. If I could wave a magic wand and make CSS more intuitive, I would. But unfortunately, it's a picky language that takes a bit of time to get comfortable with. As long as you understand the big idea, which is that you're using the property to tell the browser how you want something to look, and using the selector to say what you want to look that way, you're ready to learn more. And CSS is a crucial tool to be a good web designer.